Hi, I'm Adam Luke, and this is
Judy Yen.
And we are both pre-licensed clinicians with California Altura Vista, and this is OC Relationship Restoration. Today we're doing something different.
Yes.
We've been doing videos on interventions, different things we use in therapy, and things that we've used as interns. But this video is going to be different because we're going to talk about how to survive as an intern or a trainee entering into their internship and what that process looks like. Because again, the reason why we do these videos is to help bring a discussion forward and bring forward the genuineness of the whole process, and to let you know it is hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. And we want to be able to provide other pre-licensed marriage family therapists with, I don't know, like interventions and tools that sometimes, like our first couple of years, like we didn't really have, or we didn't really have someone else that like was in the same season as us that could kind of get it. So we really just wanted to make this specific video because we understand that this process is hard. And sometimes you wake up and you're like, is it ever going to end? Why did I choose to do this?
Am I ever going to make money doing this?
Yes, and is this the right field for me? You know, did I make a mistake? So we just understand that there's all these different, you know, like doubts and insecurities, and but also a lot of joy, I think, in this process. But sometimes I think it's hard for us to see that part when we're tired and we're like trying to hustle and try to get our hours or working a bunch of different sites. So we just really wanted to kind of, I don't know, like share with you guys just like how to get through this. Because we're all trying to do it.
Exactly. And so what we did is we actually polled some of our friends, other individuals that are either interns or they're trainees or they're about to enter their traineeship, and just wanted to have that honest discussion.
Yeah. And our friends, I mean, like everyone that we are friends with who are MFTs, like you guys have been our community, and like for me personally, I would not have survived this journey at all, even currently, if it wasn't for all of them. So we're just like so blessed to have you guys, and thank you so much for giving us your feedback and just walking with us through this. Yes,
everyone that we reached out to, we appreciate all your feedback. We also appreciate it when you talk to us about the videos we do. But something I wanted to point out that Judy touched on, but I didn't think she marked for herself, and she was talking about her tribe there. And that's something, if you talk to Judy, she'll talk about her tribe.
I love them.
And she'll talk about those people. And so what I heard was that network has helped you through the dark times of MFT hood.
Oh yeah, and the good times. Like they're the first people that I go to if I am struggling with a client, or if I feel insecure about my role in this field, or when I have successes, and they're like family, and it's just we speak to each other in such a different way, but in such a way that I've never had before becoming an MFT, that I'm so appreciative of all of them. And like, I don't know, like I love you guys, and you guys know that. So I just like thank you so much for allowing us to like ask you guys questions, and for also like pouring back into us as well.
So rule 1, it can be lonely, but it is only as lonely as you allow it to be.
Yes.
So remember those connections you make in school, make it your training sites, and make sure you keep that going forward. Otherwise, yeah, it is very, very lonely. So I'm going to kick it off with some of the questions I got from individuals. The people I polled were individuals who are either about to enter their traineeship, or they are in their traineeship about to go to their internship. And so some might ask, well, why did you ask this? I think this reminds us as interns what we went through as trainees, and then also I think we have a responsibility as interns to help the trainees come up alongside us. I mean, it is only as hard for the next person that we allow it to be. You know, I want to be that resource because, as Judy said, there has been multiple people, dozens, who have been that source for me when I was coming up. Judy has been one of them. So what you have to find is you have to make that connection, then pay it back. So the first one is going to be from my friend Jen. And so I asked her, what would you want to know about traineeship or internship? And she said, one thing I've been thinking about is working and getting intern hours. What options and opportunities are there for paid internships? Are there things I can be doing now to work toward that? I'm not yet in my traineeship. So Jen, I would say absolutely there is something you can work at right now to help you get that paid internship. Paid internship, that's the key buzzword, right? Everyone wants one. There's various different levels. You can go work for a clinical site that might be subsidized by the county. You can also work in private practice like Judy and I do. And the pay is going to be different, and it's going to be structured differently. When you work for a clinical site that works with county organizations, you will most likely get paid a set figure. They're going to give you a set a caseload. The caseload again goes off of where you work and how busy they are. And then you have the private practice devil. So private practice, what people don't talk about is, yes, you can make great money in private practice, but it's going to take time.
Yeah, and it's inconsistent.
It is very inconsistent. This is not something to turn you away from following your dreams. This should help you put it in a better lens. So if you think you're going to quit your day job and jump into private practice and it's smooth sailings from here on out, it's unfortunate that I have to tell you that is not true. But it doesn't have to be the stopping point for you. You're just going to have to work hard for it.
But it's worth it.
It's very worth it. And so going back to what can I do today to help that, the best thing you can do as a trainee or an intern is to network and build the relationships around where you want to be. I know of another intern that she is going to be moving to Colorado. So she is in actually a different setting of she's getting her work down here in Southern California and then she's going to move. So it's going to be a big thing for her. But again, you build the connections here because as she has found out, there's people here that know people in Colorado. So you're not wasting a connection by putting down a network down here. You want that fail-safe.
Yeah.
You should see it as a security net because you want to be able to call people in times of need and say, hey, do you know of anyone that's hiring? Do you need another person at your organization? That's what you have to do. So then I reached out to another friend, Sophie. And Sophie had the question, how about information on getting paid internships, right? Buzzword, or how the transition is from trainee to intern. So let's talk about that. So as a trainee, most of the time you're in an organization. You have a supervisor. You have 7, 8 individuals that are working with you as fellow trainees. Again, this depends on where you go as an intern. If you go straight into private practice as an intern, what you will notice right away is the hallways get quiet.
Yeah.
And what you'll notice is your ships in the night. You will have a Google Calendar, and you'll see when people are in the office, and then you may not actually see anyone when you go to the office.
Like, we rarely see each other. We're in the same office, and there are 2 offices within our office, and I don't think that we have ever seen each other except for maybe once in passing between session to session. It's a quick high five. It's like, have a good session, and then good night. But like, we rarely see each other. So private practice is very lonely, but I mean, it's rewarding. It's very different than what your training site probably will look like.
Exactly. The other difference will be in how you see your supervisor. You know, in a training site setting, you normally have at least a supervisor or a director that is maybe always on the premises, sometimes maybe just a phone call away. You will have that to some level with your supervisor in an internship, but the difference maybe is, again, you will have to set time to go see them, meet at a Starbucks, meet wherever, to get that actual supervision because everyone's got busyness in their life. So that's the first thing you have to realize is, again, the difference between your internship and your traineeship. The other thing as an internship is that a traineeship, it almost feels like you've got a little bit of, you've got training wheels. People know how to handle you. Like, oh, okay, well, we got to raise them up, grow them up as trainees. And then you get the name of intern. And so if you come from a really good site that was always there to support you and mold you, and you go into an internship, you need to make sure that the internship's going to fit the style in which you grow. This is a very big thing that people don't really think about. You may actually go somewhere where it is fast-paced. We're going to give you a booklet. That is your training. Read that booklet. If you have any concerns, go back to that booklet. Don't call us unless there's a fire. that actually exists out there. So you need to be honest to yourself on where you're going to go and where you're going to strive. Because I've experienced myself where I thought I wanted to go to somewhere. It was a paid internship, and it was not going to benefit me in any other avenue but financially, right? And so is that exactly why I do therapy? No. Then if it's not going to strengthen me as a clinician, that is probably where I don't need to go.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think you have to be realistic about your expectations. If your expectations of internship is going to be a lot of pay, great hours, an easy caseload of clients, that's probably not realistic. There is a very high chance that you might end up at a site where it's not really the population you want to work with, or it's not the hours, or your supervisor isn't great, or you don't have a lot of colleagues to talk to. You just have to be kind of realistic about your expectations of, is your internship going to be just to get your hours, or is it going to be about the process? Is it going to be about developing your niche? Is it going to be about, I don't know, a bunch of different things. It just depends. So I think being realistic is kind of important to jump from traineeship to internship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what did you hear back from your interns at you?
So I talked to a lot of our MFTI family, and we just have a few responses of what their advice was. So one of them was from Jamie, and she said that, you have to have self-care, which is incredibly imperative. Be open-minded about employment opportunities. So if you have one site, make sure you're also kind of open to maybe jumping. And that might seem scary because you're used to one site, but like if you want to grow in a different area, feel free to go in a different area. The hours are still, accumulating. Also, be a kid after work. You do therapy, but you aren't a therapist 24/7. Like, give yourself the rest of not working after your job. Also, work hard, play hard. Then we also have another MFTI. Her name is Jen. It takes time and learn as much as you can. I think in my 3,000 hours I've learned, like therapy, it's more about the process than it is about the end goal. And I think that for a lot of us, we get so stuck on I want to get my hours, that we don't really take the time to sit here and just sit in this process and kind of just go and enjoy every day.
And she just submitted, right, for licensure?
Yes, she just got her 3,000 hours.
So it does happen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And all these people are at different hours. And then we have John, who's at 2,700 hours. He says, use each opportunity as a learning experience and recognize it's going to make you a better therapist in the long run. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Consult. Keep a close group of therapist friends nearby for support and self-care. It can feel pretty lonely sometimes without them. That is totally true. He's received lots of text messages from myself and our pack of people just for support. Without them, I don't even know what life would look like.
Go back to John for a second. John's kind of funny because John and I have actually known each other since we were 15. We went to the same high school, and it was just amazing how we decided to go our same ways. But while I don't talk to John on the frequency that Judy may, this is again another network that I have kind of mined with myself because I've met him on such a different level. So we've seen each other grow so much. And so John worked at College Hospital.
Yeah.
And that's where he got most of his hours. And I know that he's been grinding away and doing great work for individuals. And it was a blessing to watch him do that because talking about internships and where you're placed, well, the site he's at is a really hard site.
Yeah, it's really hard.
They work with a very special population, a population that has great needs, and there aren't that many resources out there for it. But to see him keep his perspective and keep his drive and going forward, and he just actually got a private practice he's going to be working with in Huntington Beach, so it's cool to see that.
And then we have Megan, who's at 2,800 hours, and she said, you're going to mess up. Not every client is going to like you. Very true. And you're not going to like every client. Also keep a close-knit group of MFT friends. Yep. So again, making sure you have a pack of people that you can talk about this journey with and, grab dinner, and just kind of vent to or also gain support and just share your joys. We also have Daniel. He just got his hours for 3,000 hours. He just submitted his paperwork. And it's awesome because we graduated at the same time. So it's just so cool to see us be in the same counseling center and then like train together, and then now seeing him about to sit for licensure, like that's just super awesome.
And he moved, right?
Yeah, he moved back to up north.
And so, like
we miss
Judy,
you.
like Judy talked about, I mean, that's a big transition, right? In the, like, I wouldn't say in the middle of his hours, but he was
Yeah.
winding down, and boom, I'm going to a new area where I don't have the network connection, but he still did it.
Yeah. And his advice is, my one piece of advice would be to surround yourself with other like-minded therapists who you can depend on. This industry is extremely isolating if you're not careful. And it's so unique that it's difficult for non-therapists to understand the daily struggles, pressures, stressors that therapists go through. And I totally agree. They're just, you know, there's a way that we process things with other therapists that sometimes I don't think that we get outside of that circle. And just being able to just say to someone, hey, like, that was a really hard session, and have all your MFT friends go, oh, like, we get it. Like, that's really validating. And it's just, it's great to have that support system. And then we have Heather, who's at around 2,500 hours. She's a professor at Hope International. And she's also, she's done private practice before. And then she's also at our counseling center as well, at Hope Counseling Center. And she says, my advice is to not feel be in competition with others. That's what I felt when I was in private practice. I felt I was behind because I wasn't making money, and that ended up shooting myself in the foot. All interns will be at their own pace. No one can tell them how fast they should go. They need to be like Olympic swimmers. If they look to the lane next to them, they're bound to screw themselves up. Just keep your head down and stay in your lane. At the same time, keep a close group around you. Don't push yourself in solitude. You need to have those trusted that know what you are going through and who will keep your head above water. So again, you know, group of friends, like that's like probably the theme of just all the advice that we have, is that this journey is so lonely if you do not reach out with other therapists. They are the only ones that really get it. And I think that having them in your circle is just, it's like life changing, and they're your family and they're your community. And I think making sure you have that is incredibly important. And then we have Matt, who's actually at 1,000 hours. Matt was actually a lawyer before he became an MFT, so it's really cool to see him merge those two lenses. And he just recently graduated. So those are the other people that had asked questions. Like, he just graduated, I think in May.
Oh, wow.
So just a couple months ago. And his advice is, continue or get into your own therapy. Supervision and consultation are great, but it's ultimately someone else's opinion. Your own personal therapy not only is helpful to work out your own stuff and be less reactive as a therapist, but it also helps you to learn what works in therapy and develop a greater confidence in what you do as a therapist.
Wow. That's
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I adore my therapist, and she has definitely been a source of support through this crazy journey. So definitely getting your own therapy is incredibly important. Then we have George. He graduated in your cohort.
He graduated with me.
And he's at 1,600 hours. And he says, therapy counseling isn't about being someone's Superman or Wonder Woman. It's about loving people in the unique way that the therapy setting allows clinicians to do so, and serving a population, community, society, and world at large in a hopeful and meaningful way. Therefore, enjoy and appreciate each moment of the process towards licensure, as this journey is unique in its preparation and empowerment towards greater service.
Boom.
Yeah. And just having, you know, you guys are in this field for a reason. You have a heart for people. And it's always reminding ourselves that that's why we're here, you know, through the burnout, through the busy schedules, through, you know, just exhaustion. It's just, remember why you're here. You know, what was your purpose? You know, why did you go into this field? It's just to love on people and to care for them and be a safe space for them. And then lastly, we have Jeff. He's at 2,700 hours, so he has 300 more hours to go. He has done a couple of different sites. He was at Hope Counseling Center with us. He's currently in private practice, and then he's also working with, I think, families and children in Long Beach. And he says, trust the process of going into a field which has many requirements. Units to complete in grad school, clinical hours, 2 exams for licensing. It can look like a mountain of requirements and cause you to doubt or have anxiety. Remember your why relating to getting into the field. It is day-by-day process, a marathon in which there will be good times and tough. Going back to your why will keep you motivated to stay positive and keep going. So yeah, that's what all their advice was. I'm sure there's plenty more people that have advice for the upcoming trainees and current interns. But there's just, you know, I would say that the main thing is just don't give up. Remember why you're here. There is an end to this process, and to definitely reach out to your fellow MFTIs.
And just piggyback on what Judy was saying, is I think that we stop a lot of the conversations from happening as interns and trainees because we have maybe we're nervous to ask. So what I would say is you may sit back and say, well, you guys are connected and have all these different resources to pull from. And I don't think that's true. I think if you really do ask genuine people in internship or traineeship what you can do to improve yourself or what you can do to survive this process, I don't know of anyone that wouldn't lend a hand in that moment, because it can be lonely only because we won't reach out. I think there are a lot of genuine people that do this. It's why we are here, is to do exactly what Jeff said. So hope you guys found a tidbit out of it. Hope you, maybe it was a shot in the arm when you need it. We're here for you. Always feel free to send a comment or anything, and we would love to do more videos like this, include you guys in them. Because I think that's what we need. We need this community of traineeship and internship. You know, we are thousands of pre-licensed clinicians. There's no need for us not to have an atmosphere and a community where we can reach out to each other until we're licensed. This is how we make a different experience for when we're licensed clinicians. So
Thanks for joining us, guys.
thank you for the discussion. You guys have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is like, yeah. Are the kids?
Skateboarding being too loud?
Should be okay. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
I can yell at them.
Nah.
Throw a book
I have
at
authority.
me. You do have authority.
I'm a teacher, damn it.
lock this
But yeah, like what you were saying, I would say something about like, you know, that's why you're doing these videos, is to help all the trainees, all the interns, and just showing like how you could get through this.
Yeah, like we need to have a toolbox. I'm gonna yell at them.
Okay.
Not yell.
That way you have video for the police.
World star.